So the number one killer to agents, playing a little hangman here. Somebody guess a letter for me. Unless you can guess that. No? Give me a letter, someone.
A.
A. No A.
S.
Hang on. No S.
E.
No E.
F.
No F.
O.
Okay, we have that.
Well, we got our vowel anyway.
What else?
U.
U. T.
B.
Yep.
R. N.
So you guys ever experienced that? So this comes from being busy, but not managing your time well, right? So the most important thing is just managing your time. And when you're a commission sales job, you can work 24/7, 7 days a week, and then this is what you get. That's your end result is burnout. So we want to try to avoid that. So a couple ways to avoid burnout. At least have 1 day off a week. For me, my day changes every week. I look at my schedule and I go, okay, this is gonna be the easiest day I can take off. I usually don't come to the office. I usually just work from home, some emails, but nothing too critical. Now, if something important comes up, I obviously take care of it, but I try to at least have that 1 day a week where I have no expectations for myself, right? And so if you're home and you have spouses, or you go to Starbucks and sit there for a couple hours, whatever helps you kind of just regenerate a little bit without actually working, get away from the grind for at least 1 day a week, okay? Use deadlines on your calendar. So if you have a good CRM, I try to put my deals in CRMs, so I manage my time. Like with Binzers, I know this drives everybody crazy, but I usually don't do my Binzer till day 8, 9, or even 10, just to give myself a little bit of time. There's two benefits to that. One, I get to benefit, I have a little more time to kind of read the inspection report, come up with exactly what I want for my client, plus it puts a little more pressure on the seller. So, which is always a good thing if you're representing the buyer, because now we're 10 days, 12 days on the market, under contract, and then you give them their repair request. If you give it to them too soon, they could go, hey, you know what, I'm going to cancel and put it back on the market. We've only been on the market 3 days. It's easy for me to go back on the market. You've been on the market 12 days, might be a little bit more incentive to try and see the deal through. I don't know, but that's kind of what I do. And then I can just manage it better. Obviously, the response to their Binzer, I wait 5 days, because usually it's just they agree. Seller agrees to do what repairs, the buyer agrees to agree to their repairs. So I usually there's no real rush on that. I think if you can kind of manage those timetables a little better, you won't feel like the grind, like every single day things are due and stuff you have to do. We all have these, and I think it's worse now with smartphones, Facebook, Instagram. How much time do you think you waste on stuff like that, right? I estimate on when I got rid of Facebook finally, but when I had Facebook, I probably cost myself at least 4 or 5 days a year of time just wasted. You know, a couple hours here and there a day adds up pretty quick. So make sure you avoid those. Try to keep yourself up with a reasonable schedule, especially when you're working with your clients. It's okay to tell clients, I'm not going to answer the phone after 9 o'clock. If it's super important, text me, leave me a voicemail. What I do is I let them leave me a voicemail, I then listen to the voicemail, and if it's important, then it's up to me on whether or not I want to call back, right? So it's okay. The only thing is if you set that schedule with your clients, make sure they're aware of it. If they're not aware that you're on a schedule, and they're calling you and you're not calling back, that's hard to explain. But if you're like, hey, when I first meet people, I said 9 to 9, I'm available. After that, try texting, leave me a voicemail. If it's important and urgent, I'll know and I'll know when to call you back. But those are times that you're just probably not going to get me. Everybody will accept that if you just tell them. right? When you explain it to them, they're totally fine with it. If you don't, and you just ignore them, that's when they feel like they're being ignored. So make sure they know that. So one thing to remember about this schedule, the minute the phone rings at 9:30 and you answer it, guess what? Your now schedule is 9 to 9:30. Right? Once you let somebody have that access to you, it's always going to be available, right? Usually, I mean, the only time you really have like really urgent matters is usually if it has to deal with the loan, or you're in escrow and there's a problem with the repair request, or something not done on the Binzer that was supposed to be done at the walkthrough. But there's nothing that's so super urgent that you have to drop everything and take care of it. So, and clients will realize that. The one thing is just keep it regurgitating to clients like, what's the next step? This is what you can anticipate, so they don't panic. I start making notes of all the things I need to do to better explain to my clients. I had one yesterday. My buyer calls me. She goes, "Do I have a COE?" I'm like, "Yes." She goes, "Do I know what it is?" I'm like, "Apparently you don't." I said, "It's May 30th. She's like, "Oh, okay. What's a COE?" I'm like, "I should close of escrow." "Okay, then when do I get the keys?" That's the day you get the keys. So I should have done a better job with them explaining that up front. So I just add that to my list of things I could do a little better. But such a reasonable schedule, you can avoid burnout. What you want to also do is avoid getting, if you don't have a lot going, you're taking so many days off each week that you're not being very productive. So even when you don't work going, you still have to be productive, but you still have to figure out some time for yourself as well. All right? When it comes to time management, the 80-20 rule, just like almost anything in life, comes into play. 20% of your time is where 4/5 of your results are. Right? So how do you balance this and go 70-30 to be a little more productive? I think this stuff up here will help those results get better. That's just a study that I think University of Stanford did, and you actually are seeing it a lot in corporate America. People are saying,
It's a rule that tends to, once you know about it, it tends to redo itself or regenerate all the time.
"Yep," in almost anything you do.
Yep.
But corporate America is now looking at, should we have work days from 10 to 3, right? And then I don't know. I don't know how you cut the hours down and create productivity. It seems backwards, but if you could just make sure that you avoid some of the things not to do, I think your productivity just naturally would go up. Okay?